Today we are gathered here for a lecture under SRIMAD BHAGAVATA Day. This is being conducted under the endowments of the great Professor Dr. M. Narasimhachari Memorial Endowment, Sri N.V. Raghavan and POZHAKUDI Subramania IYER Endowments. The latter two pertain to the Sanskrit Academy, and Professor Narasimhachari Memorial Endowment belongs to the Kuppuswami Research Institute. And I think most of us know Professor Narasimhachari, but still it is very apt that his beloved and worthiest student Professor Radhakrishnan is here, and we have requested him to say a few words on his professor. Though we have seen him, we have heard him so many times, but he knows Professor Narasimhachari better than any one of us here. And under this endowment, we have been conducting lectures on different aspects of SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM. And this year, we are going to have a lecture on the topic ÄŞRAMA DHARMAS in SRIMAD BHAGAVATA, which will be delivered by Dr. P.C. Muralidharan, an assistant professor of Kuppuswami Sastri Research Institute. Dr. Muralidharan studied Sanskrit in Sri Ahobilam Oriental Higher Secondary School, so he has a good basic knowledge of Sanskrit, well trained in the school itself. Later he joined the Madras Sanskrit College and he did his Sahitya Shiromani here, and then went to University of Madras, where he obtained his MPhil under Professor Padmanabhan. And then he came to the Kuppuswami Sastri Research Institute for his PhD on Navalpakam Kumaradattacharya's work, Parijata Harana Nataka. He is well versed in Sanskrit, especially in Sahitya and Alankara. And he has been presenting many research papers in seminars, in conferences in many parts of India. And recently in the World Sanskrit Conference held in Nepal, Kathmandu, Nepal, he also presented a paper. And he has also been contributing many articles in our journal and in other leading journals. And he has also been teaching texts on Sahitya and Alankara Shastra to those who come here seeking our assistance. Presently he is also handling Dhvanyaloka for the postgraduate students of Vivekananda College, Mylapore. And Dr. Muralidharan has already given talks in the KSRI as well as in the Sanskrit Academy. So he has chosen the topic ÄŞRAMA DHARMAS in SRIMAD BHAGAVATA for today's occasion. And before I request Dr. Muralidharan to give his lecture, I request my professor, Dr. C.S. Radhakrishnan, former professor of Sanskrit in Vivekananda College as well as head of the Department of Sanskrit in Pondicherry, Central University, Pondicherry. And Dr. Radhakrishnan is internationally very well known for his contribution in various aspects of Sanskrit literature. And like his professor, Professor Narasimhachari, he is also an Ashukavi. And the way he used to recite the verses, our past secretary C.B. Madhavan said, this itself shows that he is a student of Dr. Narasimhachari. Such a great scholar, and we are happy that he is amidst us today. Now I request Dr. C.S. Radhakrishnan sir to just talk about his professor Narasimhachari.
Sri Chandrasekharam Vande Sri Jayendram Jagadgurum Vijayendram Tata Satya Chandrasekharam Anvaham Sadguru Charnarvindabhyam Namaha. My esteemed colleague Dr. Srinivasan, who is the President of the Sanskrit Academy, Dr. Balasubramanian, who is the Director of the KSRI, and the speaker for today, Dr. P.C. Muralidharan, and learned scholars who have assembled here to listen to the lecture, which is organized on a very significant day today, since it happens to be Ekadashi also. It's apt that we celebrate the Bhagavata, SRIMAD BHAGAVATA day today with a lecture by a good scholar. At the outset, we should register our sincere gratitude to the donors, Sri N.V. Raghavan, Sri POZHAKUDI, KSRI, with which this endowment has been established, and we are able to conduct such lectures which will be very beneficial and useful for the Sanskrit scholars and for the next generations. And in this context, I have been asked to say a few words about my late lamented Guru, Dr. Narasimhachari. More than anything that I have, whatever I am today, I take pride in saying that I am a student of Dr. Narasimhachari. And for the benefit of those who may not have met him or known him in close quarters, I wish to share a few information about him. He was born in the Arthamuru village in East Godavari of the Mudumbai family. That's why he is called as M. Narasimhachari, Mudumbai Narasimhachari. After doing his M.A. Telugu, he came to Chennai and did his M.A. Sanskrit, and he did his PhD under Dr. V. Raghavan on the topic of contribution of Sri Yamunacharya to Siksha Dveda. And he was a lecturer in Vivekananda College. And we are very fortunate, myself and Dr. Srinivasan are very fortunate to study under him as students. And in 1976, he joined the Sanskrit department of Madras University as a reader in Sanskrit. And I had the good fortune of registering under him for PhD as his first full-time student. And soon after, he was giving lectures in the University of Malaysia when the new endowment department in the Madras University was established, and he was asked to head that department of Vaishnavism in Madras University, which is even now one of the most flourishing departments under the endowment scheme. And subsequently, he has visited Oxford University many times, and also the Mahatma Gandhi Institute in Mocha in Mauritius, where he served for many years. And it was during his service there in Mocha that unfortunately his health was not in good condition, and he had to come back to India. And before he came to India, he happened to visit on Chinmaya campus, where there was a mandir for Hanuman. And instantaneously he had composed Hanumat Panchachamaram, and he had sent it to me in email. And as a mark of respect for him, unfortunately when he passed away in 2013, on 6th March. Then soon after that, on the 13th day, I published that book in memory of him and distributed that. And when we were students of Dr. Narasimhachari, as PhD students, we used to meet him in the evening when he would be comparatively free. And a few of us, myself and Dr. Usha Chauhan and Dr. Jayasri Hariharan, on whom also we have a lecture here. And he used to say, because we know that he was an Ashu Kavi, and he started narrating the Krishna Charitam. And he would ask us, which vrittam or meter do you want? Then we will say, each day we will say, today you please compose in Pushpidagra. Then I will just light one incense agarbatti, pray to his Ishtadevata Hayagriva, then profuse, simply it will come. Then I used to be the scribe to catch up with his speed. So I used to scribble, and subsequently after his passing away, I thought that it should be published. And we went to his house and searched for that book, that notebook. Fortunately, that was there. And it was not even given a title. And I published that under the title of Sri Krishna Charitam. And in this context, I must say that he has written one very big Mahakavya called the Bharata Darshanam, running to more than 3,000 verses. But the script, as of now, is not available with me. It is somewhere in London, where with one of his acquaintances there. I have made a request to Dr. Godabayash Mishra to procure that script so that subsequently we can publish that. Because it is not just a Kavita, but it is on par with any best poet in Sanskrit literature. So I hope that in near future we would be able to publish that book also. And as a mark of respect, I will take only a few minutes, because we'll have to show respect to him in his own way of presenting things. So a few verses I have composed, maybe 8 verses, which I would like to call as a Guru Ashtavati on him, and I will conclude. Shri Vaishnavagama Mahodadi Somarupam Lakshmi Hayasya Paripurna Kataksha Patram Shri Vaishnavagama Mahodadi Somarupam Lakshmi Hayasya Paripurna Kataksha Patram Shriman Nrisimha Guruma Pradima Prabhavam Sarva Priyam Guruvaram Pranamami Murdram Shishtanukulaha Yaha Ashtavadhani. He was also an Ashtavadhani. Shishtanukulaha Yaha Ashtavadhani Spashta Avabodhastya Sattva Abhimani Karunya Saulabhya Gunehi Vishishtaha Virajade Sadguruhu Advidiyaha Namra Nrisimhaha Narasarva Bhaumaha. In the word Narasimha or Nrisimha, there are 2 terms, Nara and Simha. In what way he is a Nara and what way he is a Simha. Namna Nrisimhaha Narasarva Bhaumaha Prahladanam Kasya Karodina Asau Sarvasyapi Prahladanam Asau Karodi Ajnana Sandeha Hiranya Hanta Ajnana Sandeha Hiranya Hanta Simhatvam Evam Pragati Karodi. What is a Simhatva? No samshayosmin vishaye buddhaha voho. No samshayosmin vishaye buddhaha voho. Punyena janmandara sanjitena. Asmabihi aptasya shishyatvam aptam. Guroho gurunam pratamasya tasya. Asau kavischa ashu kavihi vishishya. Gunaihi Suvrittaihi Samalankratascha, all the terms in Alangar Shastra. असौ कविः च आशु कविः विशिष्य गुणैः सुवृत्तैः समलङ्कृतश्च स्वकीयरीत्या कथयति असौ कथाः सद्हृद्गताः भक्तिरसेन पूर्णाः रामायणं लक्ष्मणदर्शनं च, that is Ramanuja Darshana is Lakshmana Darshana. रामायणं लक्ष्मणदर्शनं च श्रीभारतं भागवतं पुराणं वेदाश्च वेदान्तमतं सुसारं गीत अभिधानं भगवत्प्रणीतं प्रमाणशास्त्रं यामनासागम प्रामाण्य प्रमाणशास्त्रं वरयामुनेयं विष्णुआगमानां प्रतितं प्रमाणं श्रीपाणिनीयं विविधप्रकारं शास्त्रं करे अस्य आमलके कृतं भोः प्रतिष्ठिता अस्मिन् सुरभारते यथा तथा आन्ध्रवाणी तपसैव लब्धा. He was proficient in 3 languages, Sanskrit, Telugu and English. And he used to say, Andratvam Andhra Bhasha cha nalpasya tapasaha phalam. To be born in Andhra and to learn that beautiful Sundar Telugu, we say, one should have done some tapas in the previous birth. Pratishtita asmin surabharati yatha तथा आंध्रवाणी तपसैव लब्धा चकास्ति च अस्मिन् सुतरां मनोज्ञा आंग्लाख्य भाषा जगति प्रसिद्ध, the universal language. And in Oxford University, even great scholars like Gaumbridge used to attend his lectures. अस्मद्गुरोः संस्मरणात्मिका अद्य अस्मद्गुरोः संस्मरणात्मिकाद्य विद्वत्सभायां विनयेन सार्धं शिष्येण गुरु अष्टपदी मदीया समर्प्यते भक्तिपुरं सर्वं मया. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Radhakrishnan sir. Now I request Dr. Muralidharan to come over here and deliver his talk.
विशुद्ध विज्ञान घनस्वरूपं विज्ञान विश्राणन बद्ध दीक्षं दयानिधिं देहभृतां शरण्यं देवं हयग्रीवमहं प्रपद्ये. श्री लक्ष्मी हयवदन परब्रह्मणे नमः. At the outset, I would like to offer my humble pranams to all the scholars gathered over here. The ashrama dharmas are explained in 7th skanda and 17th skandas as well. The TTD publication 2004 of SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM is covered by 3 commentaries, while the Krishna Sastri edition, which is covered by 10 commentaries. In 7th skanda, Yudhishthira's queries on ashrama dharmas have been addressed by sage Narada. In 11th skanda, through the conversation between the Lord Krishna and Uddhava, the queries of later on ashrama dharmas have been promptly replied by the former. In 12th adhyaya of 7th skanda, the dharmas of Brahmacharins and Vanaprasthas are explained. In 13th adhyaya, the dharmas pertaining to the Sanyasashrama are discussed, and in 14th adhyaya, Grihasthashrama dharmas are explained. In the case of 11th skanda, chapter 17 delineates the dharmas pertaining to the Brahmacharin and Grihasthashramas, and in 18th adhyaya describes the dharmas pertaining to the Vanaprasthashramas and Sanyasasashramas. I am going to present now a few dharmas pertaining to the ashramas of all the four. There are many interpretations understood for the term dharma, such as dharati lokan, driyate punyatma bihi, and the root dridharane, which holds many meanings, such as to hold, to sustain, to bear, and to support. From the accounts of Shabdakalpa Druma, many synonyms are found used for the term dharma on the basis of citations of Amarakosha and the Mahabharata, such as Punya, Shreya, Sukrita, Vrisha. In Mahabharata, Nyaya, Swabhava, and Achara. In the commencement of first skanda itself, the term dharma is explained in the SRIMAD BHAGAVATA, which is interestingly different. Here the dharma defined on the basis of bhakti, which a devout bhakta holds with Bhagavan. According to the commentators of the SRIMAD BHAGAVATA, this bhakti sprouted in a bhakta should be palasandhana rahita, that is, without the expectation of any benefits, and apratihata, that is, devoid of any interruptions or obstacles. Thereby, the mind of a bhakta gets pleased. Savai pumsam paro dharmaha yato bhakti radhokshaje ahaituki apratihata yaya atma samprasidati. Another different interpretation for the term dharma is found in the SRIMAD BHAGAVATA. According to this interpretation, dharma is created by Bhagavan himself. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Now, the ashrama. The term ashrama is the combination of the two words, namely with the prefix ang and shrama. Ashramyanti asmin iti ashrama. From this term ashrama, the meaning hermitage is also emerged. So the ashrama has been classified into four types, namely the Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. Vedas are considered as the fountainhead for all the dharmas, as asserted in the statement Vedo kilo dharma moolam. The following mantra pertaining to the Vivaha karma from the Rig Veda clearly reveals the bonding between the bridegroom and the bride to be cemented through the Grihasthashrama. To this, Sayanacharya, the commentator, says that the bridegroom holding the hand of a bride and saying that you be with me until you become old for the sake of prosperity, because the devas such as Bhaga, Aryama, Savita and Pusha, who have gifted you for me entering into the Grihasthashrama. He vadhu tavahastam aham grinnami kimartam saubhagyaya maya patya tvam yatha prapta vardhakya bhavasi Bhagaha, Aryama, Savita, Pusha, ete devaha tvam mahyam dattavantaha kimartam garhapatyaya yataham grihapatihi syam. While stating the significance of Brahmacharya ashrama, Chandogya Upanishad says that the Atmajnana was imparted by Prajapati to Indra when the latter was staying under the former for about 100 years while maintaining celibacy. तान् एकशतगुं सम्पेदुः एतत् तत् यदाहुः एकशतगुं हवै वर्षाणि मघवान् प्रजापतौ ब्रह्मचर्यमुवास तस्मै होवास. Therefore, from the perusal of above Vedic and Upanishadic passages, it is understood that the knowledge of ashramas can be seen replete in our ancient Vedic wisdom. Srimad Bhagavata is considered as the one among the 18 major Puranas. In this Purana, apart from the Leelas of Bhagavan Vishnu, many matters pertaining to the philosophical and metaphysical aspects have been discussed. The passages taken from this Purana have been interpreted extensively by the three Acharyas, Adi Shankara Bhagavatpada, Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya, especially while writing commentaries to the Brahma Sutra Bhashya to furthering the doctrines of their respective schools of Vedanta. Though there have been commentaries written by various authors to Srimad Bhagavata, the commentaries, namely the Bhavartha Deepika written by Sridhara Swamin, Padartha Ratnavali written by Vijayadhvaja Tirtha, and Bhagavata Chandrika by Veera Raghavacharya, reflecting the doctrines of the three schools of Vedanta, the Advaita, Dvaita and Vishishta Advaita respectively, are significant among other commentaries. The ashrama dharmas will be explained in the light of Srimad Bhagavata in sequence. Srimad Bhagavata records the fact that the four ashramas have been emerged from the Virat Swarupa of Lord Vishnu. The Brahmacharya ashrama has been originated from the Lord's Hridaya, Grihasthashrama from the Lord's thigh, Vanaprasthashrama has been emerged from the Lord's chest, and the Sanyasashrama has been originated from the Lord's head. Grihashramo jaghanato brahmacharyam hrido mama vakshasthanat vane vasaha nyasaha shirshani samsthitaha. Veera Raghavacharya states in his commentary that the four varnas are coming under the category of jatis and the four ashramas that form part of activities, and hence both are complementing with one another, thereby the existing of both is intertwined with one another. Varnanam jati rupatvat ashramanam cha kriyatmakatvat tesham ashramair vina pritak utpatti anupapattehe ashramanam. Brahmacharya ashrama dharmas. After undergoing the samskara such as jata karma, namakarana, etc. in an orderly manner, a person becomes dvija after the completion of upanayana samskara. A brahmacharin with a subdued mind should stay in the hermitage of a preceptor and can learn the Vedadhyena after getting the formal approval of the preceptor. Dvitiyam prapyanupurvyat janmopanayanam dvijaha vasan gurukule dantaha brahmadhiyita chahutaha. The brahmacharin is classified into two types, namely the upakurvana and naishtika. He who undergoes the Vedadhyena while offering service to the preceptor is known as upakurvana. The Swarupa of a naishtika brahmacharya is also explained in the Srimad Bhagavata. This type of brahmacharya is described here as Brihadvarata, with the intention to enter into Brahmaloka through the Chandasloka, that is Mahalloka. He should be staying at the proximity of a preceptor for the sake of Swadhyaya. Yadyasu Chandasam Lokam Arokshan Brahma Vishtapam Gurave Vinyased Deham Swadhyayartam Brihadvrataha. Bhiksha is considered as one among the dharma of Brahmacharya ashrama. Srimad Bhagavata states that a brahmacharin should venture out for the sake of bhiksha on both morning and at twilight. What he earned through bhiksha should be offered to Guru at first, and it can be taken thereafter with the formal approval of Guru. Occasionally, if the Guru does not give his assent to have food, then the brahmacharin should do fasting for that day. Sayam pratascharet bhaiksham gurave tannivedayet bhunjita yadyanupnyataha nochet upavaset kvachit. Veeraraghavacharya opines that with the intention to examine the devotion and dedication of the disciple, Guru sometimes may venture into such examining gestures. Kadachit ityanena tan manah parikshayi kadachit guruhu na ajñapayet iti. The attire of Brahmacharin is described in SRIMAD BHAGAVATA thus: a Brahmacharin should make himself presentable with proper attire that have been prescribed in the Shastras. Accordingly, he should have the Mekala, Ajinavasa, Jata, Danda, Kamandalu, Upavita and Pavitra. Mekala Jina Vasamsi Jata Danda Kamandalu Bibriyad Upavitam Che Darbhapanir Yathoditam. A Brahmacharin should learn the Vedas along with its accessories on the basis of his intellectual prowess. During the period of his Adhyayana, he can learn the Upanishads also. Emphasis is given here for the learning of Vedas along with its meaning. After the Vedadhyayana, he can leave the hermitage after offering the Dakshina desirable to Guru and enter into the Grihasthashrama or Sanyasashrama, or he can continue to be in Brahmacharya ashrama itself by living in the forest. Ushittvaivam gurukule dvijodhitya avabuddhya cha trayi sangopanishadam yavadartham yatha balam dattva varam anujñato guroh kamam yedishwaraha griham vanam va pravishet pravraje tatra va vaset. Sandhya Vandana, one of the Vedika rite, should be performed by a Brahmacharin both in the morning and at twilight with the purified mind. While performing this karma, the Brahmacharin is ordained to maintain silence. He should also worship the Agni, sun, Acharya, cow, Brahmana, elderly people and the Devatas. It does not mean the Madhyanika Sandhya not to be performed. Madhyanika Sandhya also should be performed 3 times. But in Madhyanika Sandhya, the silence, there is no necessity for the Brahmachari to remain silent. It is mentioned by the commentators. Sridharaswami mentions in his commentary. Agnyarkacharya go vipra guru vriddha suran chuchihi samahita upasita sandhecha yatavag japan. A Brahmacharin should consider the preceptor equally as one's own self, and he should never show him a minutest of amount of disregard. Nor should he weigh his intelligence with that of the spiritual master and consider him as an ordinary mortal. He should perceive him as the form of all divinities. Acharyam mam vijaniyat navamanyeta karhichit na martya buddhya asuyeta sarvadeva mayo guruhu. The Brahmacharin described to offer service to the preceptor should consider himself like a servant in front of him. He must stand near to him with folded palms while he is moving, sleeping and sitting. Sushrushamana acharyam sadopasita nichavat yana shayyasanasthanaihi nati dure kritanjalihi. Srimad Bhagavata makes an emphasis that a person who is practicing the Grihasthashrama dharmas should perform the sacrifices in accordance with the rules prescribed in the Shastras with the money that has been earned either honestly or obtained incidentally without oppressing his dependents. Yadrichayopapannena shuklena uparjitena va dhanenapi yen bhrutyan nyayenaiva aharet kratun. A Grihasthashrami should consider his association with the family members like son, wife, friend and relatives is just like the meeting of travelers on the road. They remain together as long as the body exists, and then they will perish just like the occurrence of a dream during the state of sleeping and gets disappeared in the awakening state. Putra dharapta bandhunam sangamaha pantha sangamaha anudeham viyantyete swapno nidranugo yatha. Now, a Grihasthashrami should make his living with what has been left out in sacrifices. He should renounce his ownership over other worldly objects, and such a person would reach the abode of pious men. Siddhair yajñāvasishṭārtaihi kalpayet vrittimatmanaha shesham svatvam tyajan prajñaha padavim mahatam yat. To this, Viraraghavacharya says, whatever the leftover food offered in the Vedika rites, such as the Panchamahayajna, etc., alone should be taken for the sake of his survival by a Grihasthashrama. Though he got incidentally those things which are not used in the sacrifices, in contrast to his nature, he cannot lay claim over those possessions. Such a person will get the emancipation which is attainable by pious men. Daivalabdhaihi yajñāvasishtaihi panchamaha yajñādibihi avaseshitaihi eva annaihi annadibihi atmanaha swasya vrittim pranadharana rupam kalpayet sheshe yajñād yanupayukte svritti anupayukte cha daivalabdhepyarte svatvabhimanam tyajet स्वत्वाभिमानं त्यजेत प्राज्ञः एवं विध ज्ञानवान महतां पदवीं महद्भिः गम्यां मुक्तिरूपां पदवीं प्राप्नुयात्. So incidentally, I just wanted to quote the commentary portion also, because I was so much inspired by the commentary. Now, with regard to the Panchamahayajnas, in SRIMAD BHAGAVATA, how a householder should perform the Panchamahayajnas, the propitiating of Paramatma through the 5 people, the Devas, the Rishis, the humans, the Bhutas and the Pitrus. Devan Rishin Bhutani Pitrun Atmanam Anvaham Swavritya Gatavrittena Yajeta Purusham Prithak. Now, the Agnihotra and other sacrifices, because what are those things? Have been described here. The Agnihotra and other fire sacrifices, study, recitation and teaching of the Vedas, other sacred texts also, and honoring teachers, showing hospitality to the guest, offering food to the living beings such as animals, birds, etc., and offering tarpana to the ancestors. So these are the 5 things have been covered under these Panchamahayajnas. Vedadhyaya Swadha Swaha Balyannadyair Yathodayam Devarshi Pitru Bhutani madrupan yanvaham yajet. The Mahalaya Shraddha also is included in the dharmas of Grihasthashrama. SRIMAD BHAGAVATA delineates the time for the Mahalaya Shraddha to be performed by a Grihasthashrami. In Praushtapada Masa, in Krishna Paksha, the Grihasthashrami who is rich is urged to perform the Mahalaya Shraddha for his parents and to those of his relatives, to those deceased relatives such as Pitamaha, Matamaha, etc., according to his wealth. That we have to look into that aspect, wealth. So he is a rich man, but he should, accordingly, he should do that. So that is here emphasized. Kuryad aparapakshiyam masi proshtapade dvijaha shraddham pitror yatha vittam tad bandhunam cha vittavan. Dana. Dana also is covered because dana is very integral part in almost in all the Vedic karmas. So the significance of dana is explained in the SRIMAD BHAGAVATA. The SRIMAD BHAGAVATA makes an emphasis to do dana by a householder during the performance of Vedic karmas. The charity, what is being done during the occasion of Vedic karmas such as the Pumsavana karma for the wife, Jata karma for newborns, Yajna, Diksha, etc. for one's own sake, that is for Grihasthashrami. The Apara karma done to those deceased and Shraddha karmas would help the Karta attain the spiritual progress. Samskara kalo jayaya apatyasyaatmanastatha preta samstha mritahascha karmanyabhyudaye nripa. So this shloka we have to add the previous shloka also because the dana word is not occurred in this shloka. So one may wonder why dana the word is not occurred here, because the previous shloka it says about the dana yeshu snanam japo homo vratam deva dvijarchanam pitrudeva nribhutebhyo yaddattam tad dhyanashwaram, which is imperishable. The dana which is being offered during the occasion of these Vedika rites, that is imperishable. Now, apart from the dharmas, there are samanya dharmas also explained in SRIMAD BHAGAVATA. Samanya dharma in the sense, samanya dharma that are applicable to the householder, Grihasthashrama. Some dharmas can be seen in a fragmented manner in the SRIMAD BHAGAVATA pertaining to the Grihasthashrama, such as children showing regards towards the parents, wife displaying respect towards the husband, role of daughters in the family of an householder, etc. have also been discussed in the SRIMAD BHAGAVATA, which I would like to tell. So in this, in the 23rd adhyaya of 3rd skanda, in the opening verses itself, the conversation between between Devahuti and Kardama is described. She is portrayed here as an ideal wife. She was engaged in the devoted service of her husband, Kardama, disregarding her personal discomforts, and because of which she became thin and thin. As a result of his service, she was blessed. The elated Kardama, he blessed his wife Devahuti to have all the prosperities. In another context, in the SRIMAD BHAGAVATA, the dharma pertaining to the ideal son is discussed. Krishna met his parents Vasudeva and Devaki after the killing of Kamsa. He expressed regrets for not being able to be with them for a long time. He said further, from whom the human body, which is an instrument to attain the Chaturvida Purusharthas, has come, and the same has been nurtured by the parents. This debt which a son owes to his parents cannot be repaid even after 100 years. The characteristics of an ideal son is depicted thus: Sarvartha Sambhavo Deho Janitaha Poshito Yataha Natayor Yati Nirvesham Pitroho Martya Shatayusha. In another context, the characteristics of an ideal son are delineated in another instance of SRIMAD BHAGAVATA. Puru, one of the sons of Yayati, readily agrees to partake his youthful age with his father Yayati. He lists out the characteristics of a good son. Upon knowing the intention of your father and acts accordingly, the characteristics of a son is being listed out. Okay, so under there are 4 types of son. One is characterized as Uttama. Uttama son is upon knowing the intention of your father and acts accordingly, such a son is characterized as Uttama. And Madhyama son is the one who obeys after father gives the command to do something. Adhama falls in the category if the son attends to father's command with ashraddha. Very casual, அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணோம்னா அது வந்து adhama. Then the 4th category comes if the command is totally dishonored or left abandoned, the command of the father. This act of your son is treated equally with that of the vices of his father. Uttamas chintitam kuryat proktakaritu madhyamaha adhamo shraddhaya kuryat akarta uchcharitam pituhu. The dharmas with regard to providing proper care to the aged parents by a duty-bound son are explained beautifully in the SRIMAD BHAGAVATA. It is stated that if a son who, though equipped with all his wealth, fails to provide adequate care to his parents during their old age, would be made to eat his own flesh by Yamabhatas posthumously. A son, though capable of providing care to the aged parents, the son who is supposed to provide proper care to these people, they are wife, aged parents, wife, child, guru, brahmana, and even to the person seeking shelter. But if he fails to do so, he is considered as dead though breathing. Yastayoho atmajah kalyaha atmanacha dhanenacha vrittim na dadyat tam pretya swamamsam khadayantihi mataram pitaram vruddham bharyam sadvim sutam sishum gurum vipram prapannam cha kalyo vibhrat shwasan mritaha. Now, the term Vanaprastha in SRIMAD BHAGAVATA, the dharmas pertaining to the Vanaprasthashrama are elaborately described in the 12th Adhyaya. Here, see, a Vanaprastha can make the charu and purodasha, the materials used for sacrifices for sake of offerings to the deities, should be made out of the grains grown naturally in the forest. He should use the new stock of grains and abandon the old stock of grains. Vanyais charu purodashan nirvapen nitya choditan labdhe nave navennadye puranam tu parityajet. The need of practicing the dharmas of Vanaprasthashrama is made compulsory in the SRIMAD BHAGAVATA. However, the duration of a stay in the forest is made optional as far as the SRIMAD BHAGAVATA is concerned, as long as the spirit of a Vanaprastha is not troubled or disturbed due to the austerities. He can stay either 12 years, 8 years, 4 years, or 2 years, or even 1 year also. Charedvane dvadashabdan ashtau va chaturo munihi dvavekam va yatha buddhihi na vipadyeta krichrataha. A Vanaprastha is instructed to stay in the forest with a tranquil mind and spend the third part of his life. Third part of his life, because each span is divided into 25 years. So the third part of his life he is supposed to spend in the forest. So during the transition from Grihasthashrama to Vanaprasthashrama, the Vanaprastha either can take his wife along or he can entrust that responsibility to his son. Vanam vivikshuhu putreshu bharyam nyasya sahaiva va vanayeva vase chantaha tritiyam bhagamayushaha. A Vanaprastha is allowed to make the Parnashala type of dwelling place in the forest only for the sake of protecting the Agni which he nurtures in the Agnihotra rite. He can make the caves of mountains as his dwelling place, but he should have the endurance to withstand the discomforts caused due to the 6 natural phenomena such as snow, wind, fire, rains, and the heat caused by sun. Agnyarthameva sharanam utajam vadri kandaram shramyeta shrayeta himavai vagni varsharkatapa shat swayam. Yeah. A person in whom the Vairagya is sprouted on the basis of his conviction that all the experiences arisen out of worldly things are miserable equally to Naraka, then he can renounce the 3 fires and embrace the Sanyasashrama. Yada karma vipakeshu lokeshu nirayatmasu virago jayate samyam nyastagnihi prabrajet tataha. So, a sannyasi should wear a loin cloth apart from one simple external cloth. He must renounce all other possessions except the staff and the begging bowl. Under some unavoidable circumstances, he can do, but always he should have the staff and the begging bowl. That is made compulsory. Bibriyat chain munir vasaha kaupinat chadanam param tyaktam na dandapatrabhyam anyat kinchi danapadi. This is very interesting because here a true sannyasi, a sannyasi though equipped with the danda. See, we are thinking that keeping the danda, we are considering him as sannyasi. But what are the other characteristics which a sannyasi is supposed to have? That is described here. A sannyasi, though equipped with the danda held by him physically, if he is devoid of 3 dandas, he cannot be considered as a true sannyasi. The 3 dandas are mauna, being silent, that is the danda for walk. And another one is pranayama. Pranayama, which is meant for mind. And the third one is renouncing the desires that are achievable through the bodily actions. So, maunam vacho dandaha, pranayamas chetasaha, kamya karmatyago dehasya. So, this information is given by the commentators. Maunaniha anilayama maunaniha anilayama danda vagdeha chetasam nahyete yasya santi venubihi na bhavet etihi. Now the four categories of sannyasi. This classification is because in Srimad Bhagavata we find the fourfold divisions of sannyasi. This classification is being done on the basis of varying levels in the progress of the mental, the jnana and vairagya. Depends on the four types of sannyasis are categorized. They are Kutichaka, Bhakvoda, Hamsa and Nishkriya. Nyase Kutichaka Purvam Bhakvodo Hamsa Nishkriyam. According to the commentary of Sridhara Swamins, these fourfold divisions of sannyasi are described here. Kutichaka is the one who lives in a hut and enjoins the duties prescribed to his ashrama. Kutichakaha swashrama karma pradhanaha. Bhakvoda is considering the karmas as gauna, that is secondary, and gives importance to jnana. Bhakvodaha karma utsarjani kritya jnana pradhanaha. Then the third category known as Hamsa, who is committed in practicing the jnana alone. Hamsaha jnanabhyasa nishtaha. And the fourth category, the last type is Nishkriya. He is also known as Paramahamsa. He gives up all the activities and remains engaged ever in the consciousness of Paramatma. So Nishkriyaha Prapta Tattvaha. So in these fourfold divisions, the sannyasis in the successive order considered to be superior from one another, opines the commentator, Etecha sarve etotharam shreshtaha. Now come to the Bhiksha Yachana. The act of Bhiksha Yachana is dealt with elaborately in Srimad Bhagavata. A sannyasi should seek alms from the four varnas. He should not seek Bhiksha from those avoidable persons. If Bhiksha is not obtained under some unavoidable circumstances, then he can get that Bhiksha from the 7 houses only, that too without prior information, and he should be satisfied with what he got. Bhiksham chaturshu varneshu vigarhyan varjayam charet saptagaran asankliptan tushye labdena tavata. So the food obtained through Bhiksha should be consumed by the sannyasi either outside the village or near water bodies. Before consumption, the food has to be, the prokshana has to be done over the food, and it should be offered to the deities, devatas. If anybody comes seeking the food, it should be given to them, and then only he can have the food. Bahir jalashayam gatva tatropasprisya vak yataha vibhajya pavitam shesham gunjita sesham ahritam. A sannyasi can seek alms at places such as cities, villages, and at a place where the caravan of travelers is seen, and even at holy places like river, mountain, and also at the site of hermitage on the earth. Puragrama Brajan Sarthan Bhikshartam Pravisham Charet Punyadesha Sarichaila Vanashrama Vatim Mahim. So the Bhikshana which is obtained should be a naturally sourced one. Should be a naturally sourced one, and this anna is considered very superior because if it is offered by a Vanaprastha. அதில் சொல்லும்போது ஷிலாந்தசா அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறா, ஒரு ஷிலாந்தசான்ற டேர்ம் இருக்குது. ஸோ அந்த ஷிலாந்தசானா அந்த பவுண்டட் பை இது ஸ்டோன். ஸோ அதில் என்ன அப்படின்னாக்கா, இப்போ வானப்பிரஸ்தா கொடுக்கக்கூடிய அந்த ஃபுட்டில் என்ன ஒரு மகத்துவம் இருக்குது அப்படின்னு சொன்னால், இவாளெல்லாம் வானப்பிரஸ்தா எப்படின்னு சொன்னால், தே ஆர் அவே ஃப்ரம் த வேர்ல்ட்லி லைஃப். வானப்பிரஸ்தாஸ் ஆல்சோ சந்நியாசத்துக்கு முன்னாடி இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு கேட்டகரி, பட் தே ஆர் ஆல்சோ ப்ராக்டிசிங் தி renunciation, everything. ஸோ அப்போ அவள் கொடுக்கக்கூடிய ஃபுட்டுலேருந்து நமக்கு என்ன கிடைக்கும், ஒரு சன்னியாசிக்கு என்ன கிடைக்கும் அப்படின்னா வைராக்கியம், அந்த இது இன்னும் ஜாஸ்தி கிடைக்கும் அப்படின்ட்டு. ஸோ அதை இங்கே எம்ஃபசிஸ் பண்ணி சொல்கிறது. சாதாரணமாக வேர்ல்டி பீப்புள்கிட்டேருந்து பிக்ஷா வாங்கிறதுக்கும் ஒரு வானப்பிரஸ்தாசிரமத்தில் அதை ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணுறவாக்கிட்டேருந்து பிக்ஷா வாங்கிறதுக்கும் ரெண்டுத்துக்கும் டிஃபரன்ஸ் இருக்குது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அது சொல்கிறது. வானப்பிரஸ்தாசிரம பதேஷு அபீக்ஷணம் பைக்ஷ்யமாச்சரேத் சம்சித்யதி ஆஷு அசம்மோகா சுத்தசத்வா ஷிலாந்தசா. Because Shuddha Sattva Guna, everything will be developed. So in a sannyasi. So those qualities are naturally required for a sannyasi. Now let us, now we are coming to the concluding part of the lecture. Because so far we have seen for being a good sannyasi, what are those characteristics are required. Now, the characteristics which are described in these verses are not suitable for the yati. So, the yatis should learn what are those characteristics which are not suitable for the yatis. So, the yatis, I just wanted to show you the contrast. That is why I have taken this also. So, SRIMAD BHAGAVATA lists out the characteristics that are not suitable for those sannyasis who are trying to etch out their living by holding merely the staff. A sannyasin who did not conquer the Arishadvargas, namely the Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada and Matsarya, and did not control his sense organs, and in whom the jnana and vairagya have not been sprouted yet, such a sannyasin by means of danda, only he makes his living and nothing else. So, yastu asamyata shadvargaha prachandendriya saratihi jnana vairagya rahitaha tridandam upajivati. A person who pretends to be a sannyasin, mocking at the deities and himself, for whom Bhagavan says that I am the soul, and for such a sannyasin whose inner impurities are not destroyed, would befall from this life and in the other world also. Suranam atmanam atmastham ninnute mamcha dharmaha avipakva kashayosmat amushmacha hiyate. Now, the delineation of ashrama dharmas in the SRIMAD BHAGAVATA is not only confined to the particular specific chapters alone. There may be stray references to these dharmas in the SRIMAD BHAGAVATA which may require further research. Also, when I was preparing this paper, it was so astounding for me because the interpretations of the commentators upon various aspects of dharma that also require deep research. So with these words, let me conclude my lecture. I offer my heartfelt thanks to all the KSRI authorities and academy authorities and even to the endowment makers who have given me this opportunity to share some of my views about the ashrama dharmas in the SRIMAD BHAGAVATA. My sincere thanks to all my mentors, KSB sir, Vasu sir, Srinivasan sir, Radhakrishnan sir, for everybody, VK ma'am, Kameshwari ma'am, and to all my colleagues, because every research is not a one-man show, it is a teamwork. So they give lot of inputs. So the more inputs are coming in, the research will become more proper, will be typical, thorough. Okay. So with these words, let me conclude my lecture. I thank one and all. Thank you.
I thank Dr. P.C. Muralidharan for giving an excellent presentation. On behalf of Sanskrit Academy, we present this cash memento to him. And I would like to just draw your attention. The ashrama dharmas, etc., are not very, the ashrama dharmas, etc., which he has presented, are not very simple collection of points from Puranas. They actually help us to know how they are practiced and how they correlate with other literature also. For example, I just touch two only points. In Bhagavad Gita, Yajñasishtasina Shantaha. The phrase Yajñasishtasinaha is exactly used in Bhagavata also. That is, a Grihastha should remain Yajñasishtasinaha. That is, the Nivedana should be Tairdattan Apradayebhyo Yo Bhungte Stena Eva Saha. That is, if you do not offer the food to gods in puja, and then if we do not take it as Nivedana, then we are considered to be thieves. That is, they are property of the god, but when we have to take it, we have to take their anumati. Even in Jainism, that is in the Brahmacharya ashrama, etc., everywhere you find anumati. That is, when food is there, the food is to be, we have to take permission from the requisite people to consume it. So when food is served, even in our houses, Grihastha, Siddham, Asmakam Nityam Astu Etade, Andradanda Apate Intudarum. Like that, everywhere you have to use the word Asmakam Nityam Astu Etade. That prayer should be there. And then Anumati should be taken. Of course, then afterwards Pariseshana and other things comes. So all these things, that is the prayers, Anumati and other things are there. While just using the word Grihastha, Brahmacharya, etc. and Vanaprastha Sannyasi also, he has used the word. The Vanaprastha are referred to, not exactly, though not in the terms. The categories of Vanaprastha like Gorachara, etc., they have been referred to in Vamana's Kavyalankara Sutravritti and Rajasekara's Kavya Mimamsa. That is how they are great poets and how they are what is called the types of the life which is being dealt with. So in this way, you find many such cross references, and the four types of Kutichaka, Bahudaka, Hamsa and Paramahamsa, while describing the four sannyasins and the relationship between Vanaprastha and Sannyasa, that is, a sannyasi should take food from a Vanaprastha, that will be better. Ahara Suddho Sattva-suddhihi, Sattva-suddho Dhruva-smritihi. This is how you find it in Chandogya Upanishad also. In this way, many cross references are there, and we are able to recollect all those things. So it's a beautiful topic, and he has collected nice points, not only just from Bhagavata, but he has gone through the commentaries of the respective teachers. That is, Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita, Advaita teachers. Generally, Sridharacharya is very famous, but other teachers also he has gone through their points also, wherever it is required, wherever it is relevant, wherever it becomes important point. Those points also he has collected and presented them. In this way, he has presented a beautiful lecture and nice points which may be useful for us to understand the ancient system of life, etc. when we present for the students, the research students, when they try to present different poetry books, when they take it up, when they try to analyze the other literature and other things, it may be useful where to look for, what to look for, how the cross references are there. Thank you, Mr. Muralidharan, for a nice and beautiful lecture. And I thank the endowment makers, as has been referred to by. Initially, when Sanskrit Academy has been started, many people have come forward and they have made their endowments. That's long back, eons back. I cannot say just decades back, they are eons back. There are some people who have made some endowments here. So one such person is N.V. Raghavan, who was a doctor, I think doctor. He was here and then he shifted to T. Nagar and all those things. And POZHAKUDI SUBRAMANIA, these two people have made their endowments. That is, they made Sanskrit possible for Sanskrit Academy to survive and bring various people to what is called refer to. That is, they have to bring out their researches, their conclusions of their studies, and made available for other research scholars and students and all those things. There used to be regularly, the lecturers used to take place, and so we remember, and those endowments are still we are continuing, but in the changing circumstances may be a bit difficult to continue in the same way. So we are what is called, to the best extent possible, we try to hold the lectures, and we now combine it with the KSRI, as I said in the last meeting itself. We combine it with the KSRI and hold the lectures. And I thank the family members of Dr. N.V. Raghavan and no, N.V. Raghavan. So family members of Dr. N.V. Raghavan and POZHAKUDI K. SUBRAMANIA, who made this lecture possible, and I thank them. And as far as Dr. M. Narasimhachari, he was my teacher also. He was nearly 70 to 76. He was professor of Sanskrit in Ramakrishna Mission, Vivekananda College. And both me and Dr. C.S. Radhakrishnan were his students at the time. I was student of undergraduate class, and Radhakrishnan had a chance to study both the UG and PG under him. Not only that, PhD also. He migrated to university, and Radhakrishnan also joined him. And Vivekananda College started research department with Dr. M. Narasimhachari as the guide. Only with he was the first guide, and the students also, Dr. S. Viswanathan and Dr. S. Ramaratnam, they enrolled under him in Vivekananda College. So this is how the department started, and I had the opportunity to study Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi and Shishupala, the second canto, with Dr. Narasimhachari when I was a student. And not only that, when I was joining MA, he shifted to university, so I did not have the fortune to study him UG class, PG class. But when I met him after my PG class, he asked me to come on a particular day, and then for nearly 3 hours or so, he gave a thorough, complete overview and idea of a research methodology, how we have to proceed, how the books should be studied, how library should be used, how Bahuda Srotavyam, Bahusrotavyam, Bahubhya Srotavyam, how it should be used and exploited, all those informations. He thoroughly, that is, my research studies, my actual studies and all those things have been shaped by him. One of the Sanskrit Pandits, when I was talking to him, suddenly he said, we are writing verses, he writes Kavita. So it was that is how the Kalpana Shakti was there in his poetry, how he is able to bring out beautifully all those things. So such was a very great, and it is what is called, anyone who comes into contact, not even as a student, who comes into contact can never fail to be inspired by him. And his wife also a great professor. She was a professor of geography in Queen Mary's College. She was a student of Iravati, and she is also very well-known geography professor. Many of students were there well-known. In fact, Vivekananda College had a geography department earlier. Okay. Now, the students of Dr. M. Narasimhachari, especially Dr. C.S. Radhakrishnan, they have made this endowment in the name of their teacher and in KSRI. So now, I thank those people who have made this endowment possible and bring out the greatness, the inspiring nature of Dr. Narasimhachari to the present day students. So I thank all those teachers, and I convey my pranams and namaskarams to my teacher. He must be there as a Nityasuri. So I offer my namaskarams to him. I offer all my salutations and thanks to all of you who have just made it possible to be present here to attend this lecture. I thank everyone.